Don't throw my signs out.
Let's go.
Okay, we'll call this meeting of the Jamestown City Council work session to order for Monday, November 17th, 2025. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Sheldon.
Here.
Brackman.
Here.
Paternity.
Here.
Reynolds.
Present.
Faulkner.
Here.
Bonfiglio.
Here.
Diversa.
Here.
Russell.
Here.
And President Mills.
Here, thank you. At this time, I'd like to take a moment of silence to recognize the young girl who lost her life today in a tragic accident at Fletcher School. Let's also remember the entire school community, all the students, faculty, and also the bus driver as well, and anyone who's been affected by this. So take a moment of silence. Thank you. And at this point, we'd like to give the opportunity for people to address the council. If you'd like to address the city council, please leave your name and address and limit your remarks to 5 minutes. Is there anyone who'd like to address the council? Go ahead.
My name is Ronald Lord. I currently reside on Maple Street in Celeron. Although the address is 1471 Jamestown, it's very confusing. Anyway, is that all you needed? Okay. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of Jamestown City Council, thank you for allowing me to speak, and thank you for your service. Briefly, I was born in Jamestown on May 21st, 1965. In January of 2007, I moved to Texas, and I never planned to step foot in this town again. In October 2023, my daughter called and said, "Dad, I'm in trouble. I thought I could handle what I got myself into, and I can't. I need help." It took me until February of 2024 to make it up here, but I came, and when I found my daughter, I ran smack dab into a full-blown junkie. She couldn't even look me in the eyes. She was embarrassed and I was horrified. But we made a plan, and I told her, "I'm here until you are better or buried." And I damn well meant it. At that point, she had died and been brought back to life via Narcan 13 times. Everybody in here knows what Narcan is, right? I'm assuming, unfortunately. When I saw her and I learned that, I thought, I'm going to be burying my daughter. Before we got a chance to get her into rehab, she got picked up on a warrant. Me and her advocate made a plan, and we wrote letters to the judge on her behalf. I'm purposely being vague in here because the people that she got involved with do not need to know where she's at. And I'm not saying the judge's name for that very same reason. If anybody is interested privately, I'll be happy to share that information. The judge gave her a chance and released her to her grandfather's custody. It took her less than 48 hours to fall off the wagon, violate her parole, and die 2 more times. Needless to say, the judge was not impressed and remanded her to do her full sentence. She has been in jail almost 2 years now, and she'll be getting out next February. She will be clear and free to go and do whatever she wants, and friends, that is scary as hell. Because the number one way that people die from drugs is getting out of jail and thinking they could do the same thing they did when they went in. And not only that, there's a new strain of fentanyl out there that is 10 times stronger than the fentanyl she was used to. I've been telling her all this. You can speak till you're blue in the face. But it's up to her to make those decisions. So I'm back in my hometown, probably for good, and I'm working on getting my own business up and running and refamiliarizing myself with the area. And I gotta tell you that what I'm seeing, hearing, and experiencing is frustrating at the least and absolutely maddening on the other end of the spectrum. What is going on with my hometown? So I'm back in my hometown, probably for good. And I'm working on getting I just did this, sorry. So what brought me here tonight? On Monday, November 3rd, 2025, at approximately 1:20 in the afternoon, 3 masked cowards, that's what I'm going to call them, entered my friend's home, made their way upstairs, and proceeded to attack my friend's grandson while he was asleep. His girlfriend was asleep next to him. He woke up and began to fight back. They continued to hit him and his girlfriend until his 2 brothers came and joined in the fight. Upon hearing all the commotion, my friend went upstairs to find out what was going on, only to be confronted by the masked cowards in her home. When she tried to intervene, the largest of the three cowards tried to push her down the stairs. As she fell, she grabbed him and dragged him down the stairs with her. The three boys fought off the cowards and unmasked them. When they tried to run, the boys followed them and my friend called the police. When the police arrived, they took the two boys and a girl in custody, arrested them and took them to jail where they were released less than a half an hour later. I have since learned that the two boys are considered minors because one is 16 and one is 17. The girl is 19. She was filming it and posting it to Snapchat. Good for her. To make things even worse, this turned out to be a retaliation for my girlfriend's grandson beating up a boy who was asked to leave his home and would not, got up and swung at him. So he took him down, threw him out of his house. The boy went home to his mother, whined and cried because he got his butt beat. And she hired these three punks to come beat up this kid. The beating up of the grandson, the attack, the masked men, my friend has cameras all over her house. It's all on film. So there is no disputing what happened there. Whether she hired them or not is up for debate. Obviously you can't film a conversation. Well, you can, but that's up for debate. I'm not 100% sure what happened, but that is what is being told by our sources on the street. Our city police is some of the best in the country. I believe that wholeheartedly. Since I've been back almost 2 years now. I've had the opportunity to meet several of our police force. The restraint that these guys and these men and women display in our streets is astounding for the crap that they get dealt to them every single day of their lives. So I gotta say that. And every chance I get, I shake their hand, I thank them for what they do, because I can't do what they do. I'd like to think I'm big, tough, and strong, and brave, but I could not put on that damn uniform and go out in those streets and do what those men and women do. Can't do it. I don't think a lot of us here could, so thanks to them. The ones that I've talked to are frustrated, to say the least. I work with a missing persons group, and I've spoken with some of the detectives from the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Department. They're frustrated. They're like, Ron, I'm like, what can we do? We arrest them, they're out 10 minutes later. Now, I sent a letter just explaining this to Councilman Russell, also to Mayor Eklund's office. I went to school with Councilman Russell's brother, Craig, and I also went to school, turns out, with Mayor Eklund's brother, Ken. Mr. Russell contacted me back, and we had a discussion, and he straightened out a few of the things that I had incorrect in the letter that I sent to him. Were you able to get copies of all that?
I wasn't. I do have a copy here if any council members would like to see it.
Okay.
It's just basically a rendition of what Mr. Lord was talking about that took place at that residence. And what Mr. Lord is frustrated, and I'll just say it real quick, is that he's upset with the raise the age issue that we've heard so much about, and also the bail reform in the state of New York. I kind of explained when he was living in Texas, what's taken place with the bail reform and raise the age, and how that was a New York State thing. And like he said, he commends the police department and everything that they've done here in the city. But I explained to him on the phone that his fight is really with the state of New York, and with the state legislature, and also the governor's office on the repeal and replacement of the New York State bail reform and raise the age. Mr. Lord feels that we're losing our community to these habitual criminals, and I can't agree with him more. We see it. We see it in our police force. There's officers that get frustrated and they leave here. They go to other departments that don't have quite the call volume, or they're dealing with a different type of clientele, and that's happening nationwide. We have an epidemic of police officers. People don't want to be cops anymore.
Can you blame them?
the response times to calls, because officers are so short, it absolutely blows my mind that our police department is down to, correct me wrong, chief, 57 police officers. It is downright scary and unsafe for those officers that are working to be down at those numbers. And I don't see that changing at all. We're looking at 3 or 4 retirements next year, and those numbers keep dwindling. And I guess the question I have is like, where does it end? I mean, what is the number of cops? What number, is it 50? Is it 55? Do we get to the point where we can't provide the basic services that citizens are paying for? You know, we hear Mr. Wolf come here and he gets upset because he doesn't get an appropriate response time, and I agree with him. You know, our citizens are paying for the service through their taxes, and sometimes it takes a long time because these officers are just overwhelmed with a call volume. And now Mr. Lord's friend here is affected by the bail reform and raise the age.
Did you find out if the woman was sent to Mayville or not?
I did not. I didn't find out. You know, and I have talked to some officers and that have some concerns about some of our local judges. That one in particular that often has the ability to remand someone to the Chautauqua County Jail, even though they don't fall within the parameters of the bail reform. They don't have to release them. They can remand them based on whatever crime. And this particular judge is still allowing people to walk the street when he has the ability to remand them to Mayville, and it's very frustrating for the police to see that these people are back out on the street within a half an hour later with an appearance ticket.
If I may, I did contact several of the media sources. I wasn't able to get to the local station. I think it's still down on 3rd Street or something like that, right? Or 2nd, the cable company station. Used to be a news station.
Spectrum?
They're not there.
Is that where it's at? And I've been gone for 18 years, so I'm still
Yes.
figuring out where things are. But I did contact a couple of the news agencies out of Buffalo. I'm not trying to bring a bunch of heat down on our city. I'm here because I want to go through the right channels. I want to do things the right way. I'm not stopping here. If I got to walk my happy butt up to Buffalo and knock on their door, I'll do it. Because when people are so emboldened as to walk into somebody's home, break into their home, I should say, at 1:30 in the afternoon, it's enough. It's too far. It's gone. That's enough. We got to stop it. So I understand, Mr. Russell, help me understand that this is not Jamestown. There's nothing you can do about it. It's a state issue. What I would ask of the council this evening, what are we doing here in Jamestown to make our city, to take back our streets, to make our parks beautiful again, to make our streets safe again? What's being done so that I can understand, and then what can I do? What can I do to help? Do we need a citizen patrol? I ain't scared.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm not.
Come with me. I'll go with you, man. I'm not scared. I'm not saying I can sit here and beat up every punk I come across. That's not what I'm saying.
People who are in the process of committing crime.
What I'm saying is I ain't scared to fight you. You may win, I may win. We're both going to be hurt. If I was in that house that day, we'd be talking about 3 homicides right now. Because there's no planet where those kids leave that house alive. I'm glad we're not. But the next time, if my friend could have got a hold of her gun, she would have shot all 3 of them.
Justified.
That's for the courts to decide. But it'd be a different conversation and a very, very sad one. Almost not as sad as what happened to Fletcher today, but sad nonetheless. So that's. Thank you for letting me address the council. Jeff, thank you for your guidance.
Absolutely.
And let me, if anybody wants to speak to me, I'll be here afterwards, and I'll be happy to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to address the council?
Man, you changed the whole tone. I feel like the Lady Muffer sang here. I'd actually like to add on to his, but I have a few important things. Since I was here 2 weeks ago, about a week after that, I created one of those profiles on one of those neighborhood apps, and I've already had 3 or 4 people reach out to me. One of them goes by the name Scott Popowski. Apparently, he's a Ward 5 resident. He has a condemned property next to his that's been there for several years, driven down property value. He's had homeless folks breaking in. He's contacted his representative, and he's had no contact back. I don't know if Scott Popowski is his actual name. That's his online name. Maybe Ward 5 might want to look into that one. They're reaching out to a non-council representative.
That's his real name, and I will say that he keeps his house absolutely impeccable.
Okay, well, he's reaching out on apps because the city's not helping him, just so we're aware.
Well, for the record, he's not contacted me, Paul.
Okay, yeah, like I said, that's what he told me. I'm just bringing that to your attention. I also have someone that goes by Midnight London, so he asked something about making sure that the sidewalks on the way to JCC are plowed. I don't know if he means JCC property that they're responsible for, or sidewalks on the way there. I didn't get a response when I asked him. There's that concern. There was also a concern about public transportation because, carts, they're really unreliable for disabled folks like me, and apparently the disabled person who reached out to me. Maybe we can look into some kind of Jamestown public transportation. Anyway, I got the important stuff out of the way. I also talked to Chief Jackson about something, but he assured me it was being taken care of. This gentleman right here, he's touched on something that I've been here complaining about quite a few times. You're hearing from more than just me now about, I'm sorry, Chief Jackson, ineffective policing because of the state. You have more citizens coming to you. You guys have a bigger voice than us. When are you going to speak up for us? How many more have to come? How many more have to be victims of crime? Do we need to fill this room? Do we need to fill the room downstairs with the residents affected by this so that you step up and go to our state representatives and tell them what they're doing to our citizens? It's not just our job. You represent us.
I would
Democrat,
say, I would say
no, this is my 5 minutes, please.
you need to vote the
Democrat
right people
aside,
in office.
Republic
That's what
aside,
you need to do.
Republican aside, party aside, we are one city, one community. When things in the community are affecting the citizens, the people that represent that community should step up. That's why you volunteered to come here. Nobody forced you here. Nobody forces me here. Nobody forces these folks who ran for the ballot, who are on this fucking city council now. We're forced to come here. We volunteer because we want to see things better. So stop playing the blame game. Stop blaming the other party. Stop blaming the state. Step up and speak for your citizens. Don't make us do it alone. We don't have the voice that you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I say one additional thing, sir?
Just briefly, we have business to get.
Yes, sir. There's another handout that Jeff has that has some statistics. If you're interested, he'll provide a copy of that. The one statistic that I would point out to you is Jamestown is listed as there's only 6 cities in the United States of America considered safer than Jamestown, New York right now in 2025. That's alarming. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else like to address the council? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our committee reports. Jeff, did you want to respond to anything? Or? You good?
No, just that, I believe this council has, I think we did.
We passed a resolution.
We passed a
with our state.
resolution before
So we have done
notifying
something.
those in Albany and the governor that, we would like to see a repeal and replace a bail reform and raise the age. So I rebut Mr. Wolf that this council has done that. We are against the New York State bail reform and raise the age, and we've continuously said that. We've said that to some of our state leaders, so it's not like we haven't done that. The governor fails to want to change it. The legislature fails to want to change it, and until the right people are in those positions and they're listening to our voices that we want it repealed and replaced, it's still there. So I would say that we have done our job at
Then I
fighting
would like
against
to
it.
rebut that you are responsible for enacting local legislation that complies with state and
Okay.
federal guidelines, so you can do something about it.
You can, it's New York state law. You
If
cannot,
I can go to jail for violating a local ordinance in Angola,
you
that is
cannot
not covered by
supersede
state
bail
and
reform.
federal.
We cannot supersede New York state bail reform.
sir, I've been on the other side of the law.
We cannot supersede that.
Okay,
Anyway,
thank you.
I
Okay, thank you.
have my 5 minutes.
Move on,
I'm sorry.
we'll move on to our committees. Billy, anything to report?
Thank you, Mr. President. We had Mr. Lord come and ask the housing committee. He and a partner are looking at, getting some, action in the city via lead paint, eradication. And Crystal's, gonna meet with them and get them on the list and give them what he's needed, or what they need, to be on that list to qualify for being a contractor in town, getting insurance and workman's comp and all. We talked about Fulton Street, 3 houses are coming down this round, with 4 more scheduled in the second round. There's not a date, to that. Mr. Peronini asked about, created some discussion, I guess, about the New York State mandate regarding, all new builds being electrified. And so we had some go around on when that might take place, and if it will take place. I guess we're assured it will at some point in time, and to know what properties might be eligible and what properties might be exempt. So there's, still time, in the transition, according to what the government and municipalities and, are gonna have us do. Russ added that, and he was vehemently about, the people need to have the choice of who their providers are gonna be for different utilities, and, I certainly agree with that. We talked about the BPU plant and how they make cheap electric. It was brought to our attention that electric rates are gonna go up in 2 or 3 years by half or more. There's hidden fees regarding the gas line that comes to the city to fuel the gas turbine, which creates the electricity. And, nothing has moved forward on the climate, initiative, through the state. I think everybody's waiting to see what Governor Hochul will do, when it comes election time, sad to say. Crystal, again, added, for what infrastructure needs are needed for these parcels that, for infill and for replacing some of the demolitions, that the property owner is gonna be responsible for having all the utilities, water, sewer, electric, all the runs, be updated and to code at the owner's expense. Crystal mentioned there's some future funding in the pipeline, and a lot of the work that has to be considered, or will be considered, depends on that funding, if it in fact, comes through. And, some of it's collaborative with the county, and some of it we're doing on our own as a city. She further talked about the comprehensive plan is in draft form with internal comments, and it'll be a public hearing sometime after the first of the year. And the, zoning code will follow suit, as it's being overhauled. The, comments were asked about the lawsuits that are ongoing for a lot of these LLC property owners. And, we were informed by Crystal that, quite a, I won't say a large number, but we're getting some fines, run through the courts that are coming to us, which is great. Additionally, she, offered to, and anybody on council's welcome to do this, is to visit and get a list of the upcoming, forthcoming demolition projects, and also any new, businesses that have been recently, created and or are forthcoming, through the economic development group or office, or, and I think that was pretty much it. Anybody like to add to that, Crystal?
I'll just add that, the project list that you were all provided, during my budget hearing is a good place to give you a snapshot of all of the various things that we are working on, but, end of year, I'll do my normal, rundown of, accomplishments for the department, and you will all be provided that.
Great. Thank you for your good work and keep the city solid. That's it, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any questions? Move on to finance, Brent.
Thank you, Mr. President. We got 6 pre-filed resolutions. The first is the mayor's authorized entering a lease agreement with Jamestown Board of Public Utilities for the city to lease out certain real property located at 40 Harrison Street for the purpose of installing an above-ground fueling station for city and EU vehicles. This is in front of the fire training facilities on Harrison Street. That was approved. Next is resolved, the mayor is authorized to enter agreement with WCA Services Corporation, DBA All-Star EMS for ambulance and EMS services agreement, subject to the approvals to form by the corporate council. Excuse me, it's a 4-year contract here, or agreement, service agreement is expiring. The biggest change is from a flat fee being paid to All-Star for WCA Services Corporation to a percentage for the services that they do billing for the city. That was approved. Next, we resolved that Detective Damon is authorized to attend the Advanced Forensic Techniques and Crime Scene Investigations 2 training to be held in Glencoe, Georgia from January 5th to January 16th, 2026. With transportation, lodging, and meal expenses paid for by Wichita County District Attorney's ECJSJ branch. And that was approved. Next, we're going out to bid for the purchase of motor oils and lubricants we use in city vehicles and equipment. 5 bidders that submitted bids to the city. And authorizing the Director of Public Works to purchase motor oils and other lubricants from Superior Lubricants, 32 Ward Road, Northtown, Awanda, effective January 1st, 2025 through December 2027, with the option to extend pricing through December 1st, 2028 for approval of corporate council form. This was the lowest responsible bidder. One other bidder did not meet the specifications. That was approved. Next is authorizing the mayor to execute change order number 1 with R. Patty Concrete Excavating LLC, Jamestown, New York, for Barrow Street, English Street to Linda Alley, 2025, based on change order number 1. The change, we have a whole bunch of deductions here, and very few increases. So there is a total decrease of $19,624.25 for its really flat work and concrete work, plus landscape restoration. That was approved. And our last resolution was the mayor is authorized to execute change order number 2 with Jamestown Roofing Incorporated, 119 Clifton Avenue, Jamestown, for City Hall spec roof repairs for a total increase of $107,211.67. There's a whole litany of changes attached to the paperwork here. This would be paid for using the ARPA funds. We increased that a while ago to address this because we knew there were some issues. And that was approved. And for the controller, the auditors have finished up the field work for the audit and are working on data analysis, and we should be hearing more about that shortly. And go ahead and finance.
And just a brief discussion. I know the mayor's gonna update us on the sales tax, okay, so I'll let her do that, but, the third quarter sales tax came in, we had discussion about where that's trending and where it's going and how that impacts not only this year, but into next year for the 2026 budget. I also asked the mayor and the controller, I know in the budget books before, there used to be a graph or chart or some information about the historical year-to-year fund balance. I know that was a big discussion as we're proposed using a significant chunk of that for this year's budget, and where it's at, where it's been, where it's gone over the last several years, just to see the ups and downs and what affects it. So I'd like to see that for the next few days before we do vote on the budget, just to, and we're making some decisions about which direction we want to go with that. And you know, we all have concerns about using too much of it, but again, balancing that with raising taxes is always kind of a crapshoot. But I wanted to be able for people to see what the historical trend has been and what are some of the things that have affected it both positively and negatively over the years. So I've asked for that information to get out to you, but as soon as possible, so we can kind of take a look at that before making a decision. So, anything else from finance? I think that's pretty much it. Move on. Jeff, public safety.
Thank you, Mr. President. We just had two resolutions that also appeared on the finance agenda. The first one was for the mayor to enter into that agreement with WC Services All-Star EMS, and that passed. The second resolution, also on finance, was for Detective Damon to attend the Advanced Forensic Techniques in Crime Scene Investigation 2 in Glencoe, Georgia, from January 5th through January 16th, 2026. Lodging and meal expenses paid by the Chautauqua County District Attorney's Office, DCJS, the GIB grant, that passed as well. And then from informational report, just a reminder, the 2025 Jamestown, New York Christmas parade to be held on Saturday, December 6th, from 4 p.m. until 8:30 p.m., including setup and teardown on 3rd Street, beginning at Taylor Street, running to the post office. It's always a great event, lots of people, seems to get bigger and bigger every year. I don't know how many floats or anything, maybe the mayor knows.
I haven't heard the last update. I know he's still getting them and he's accepting them until the week of Thanksgiving.
Sure.
So,
And then, obviously, Mr. Lord did show up. I asked him to wait to speak to the whole council. Since he spoke, I did receive a text message that the adult female that you referenced, she was charged with burglary in the 1st degree, which is a Class B felony in the state of New York. She was released on her own recognizance by one of our city court judges. What that means is she was allowed to walk out of our courtroom on a B felony with no bail, with just the promise of returning later on. Basically, in my opinion, that sends a message that you can commit a home invasion in our city and you will walk out of court on that. That is all.
Disgusting.
Absolutely.
And despite what Mr. Wolf thinks, this council does not have the legal authority to pass any local legislation that would allow us to supersede New York State bail reform or raise the age.
The only thing that's gonna change it is vote, that's it, period. And that's gonna be next year.
Putting people in office that think differently than the people that are there now in Albany.
Any other questions? Thank you. We'll move on to Public Works. Randy?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We had 3 resolutions that were also covered in finance that were all approved, and that is to buy our lubricants out of Superior Lubricants in North Tonawanda. The decrease for the flat work on Barrow Street of $19,600. And the last one, of course, as I just mentioned, was the roof add-on for the money, $107,200 for the change order for the roof, extra work. and, and they were all approved. Other than that, we are, the city DPW is underway with leaf collection, and we had an early morning snow on Veterans Day that they had to deal with, and scrambled to get the equipment out for that, and then now they're back to doing leaf collection, and doing fairly good. It looks like the weather's going to be good for a little while. And Mark, they're gonna, if they can make another pass, they
So
will.
we should be completing the first round of the city, I believe either tomorrow or Wednesday, and then we'll start back at the beginning and make a second round,
Okay, yeah, weather permitting, hopefully it holds up.
weather permitting.
Yes.
Mark, would you give us the figures again on the salt increase, please?
So salt from last winter to this winter went up 41%. From, I believe, I'm trying to remember, but I believe $48 or $49 a ton to $68 or $69 a ton. So 41% increase from last year.
And they are underway using brine liquid de-icer, and there is a projection that there is a certain percentage of savings there. It varies anywhere from 10 to 30%, but like Mark says, will remain to be seen. But this year is the first year they're gonna be in full swing, which they already have. So that's nice. They had to get all the proper equipment and the mixing device and all that, so just wanted to make note of that.
One other thing, Mark informed us too, and I wasn't aware of this, that one of our main contractors who did 80% of our work or so is closing his doors. So we're gonna lose him, and we're hoping that some contractor's gonna step up. But Ryan Tays, as of Friday, he's
Yeah.
done. So we're not gonna have him to help anymore, so we gotta hope somebody else steps up to help us, because he, like I say, Mark, according to Mark, he did like 80% of our work.
So 80% of, would his work fall under contractual?
Yeah, all of the work he would have done for us is contractual.
Is anybody buying the business or just selling
Nope.
the door?
As far as I know, he's just selling off equipment.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big hit.
Jim Rao Enterprises.
Is there remaining obligations for the company?
I will have to check on that, I don't believe so. I think
Okay.
they finished up anything they had contracted with us, I believe they finished.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So we, yeah,
One quick question, Randy and Mark. The 5 bids for the petroleum and the oil, was yaw oil or whatever they go by now part of that bid?
So it's,
They're local, right?
I'm not sure, it's a public bid, it's advertised, so whoever,
So it wasn't a state bid?
no, this was a bid that we did for just the city.
Okay.
and one of the companies was they wanted to sell us recycled oil, which we'd never use that. You know, evidently they put it through a strainer and resell it.
I don't think that's what you're not getting.
All right, we're good? We'll move on to the mayor's report.
So a couple things. First of all, briefly mention the audit. Erica updated the finance committee and Brent updated you. I do want to clearly mention that I have met with the audit team in depth about the progress we've made over the last 2 audits, and I do want to give credit where credit is due, and that's to the comptroller. Although we're very late this year, that was partially due to last year. They are pushing with the head of Deloitte, whoever's making those decisions, to push us up earlier in the year next year. So that shows some significant improvement by Erica and her team, and I clearly want to recognize her for that, as well as the pressure she's put on department heads to do the things that she needs to do, get those things done, and you guys. So thank you for that. That is some good news coming out. And then I wanted to touch base with you about the budget. As you know, when we released the budget, there's a few uncertainties in it at the time we released it. One was sales tax, because if you recall from the first quarter and the second quarter, we missed a projected number. In the second quarter, we were barely over, so we were concerned how things were gonna flow through the year. Last week, we did receive our third quarter payment, and that third quarter through last year's year-over-year increase is 7.5%. So in the budget, we had 2% as a conservative approach for right now. Erica and I have rerun the numbers, and we're looking to increase that to 6% increase over this year, which will add another about 300,000 to the budget. So we will get those numbers for you, definite, tie that out, but that is some good news. The other couple items that we're working on, just to give you a heads up, as you know, we finished 2 weeks ago, Elliot, Erica, roughly, with all the new insurance, because our insurance expired the end of this year. We have met with them. Erica met the end of last week with the stop-loss carrier, so we're still trying to tie those final numbers in. We will have that for you, hopefully by midweek, to be on the agenda where we fall there. And the final one is she's also reaching out as part of that with the employees who went on Medicare. So as soon as we hear that information back, we'll have some hopefully good news adjustment in insurance. And the final one is a minimal adjustment probably, but she's rerunning the retirement numbers from the state, asking some questions. I don't expect it to be a huge adjustment, but we will get that to you as well. So those are the three big things. Her and I are meeting tomorrow, and hopefully can wash through those and have them on the agenda for Wednesday. Well, we have to have them in Wednesday. You'll get it Thursday.
All favorable.
But they are all favorable at this point. It's just a matter of how much. That's it for me. Nothing for executive session tonight, unless Elliot changed his mind between here and there. Okay.
All right, just a reminder too, as we're speaking about the budget, next Monday is voting session. If we're gonna make amendments from the floor, I would suggest that you get them, if you have any ideas or things you wanna put out there, get them to Erica, the mayor, Jen, so that they can put those numbers together so that they're not on the fly the night of. We can kinda get out there and get some projections out there so that when we're doing it on Monday night, remember, we have to do it from the floor so that as the budget's read and proposed, an amendment is then proposed, there's no surprises, everybody knows what's going to happen, and we have the numbers to back it up to make sure that they're doable and that we'll have a, accurate amount of savings or whatever you're gonna do, okay? So that's kind of the procedure, and then that gets us through that, because we don't really wanna have to go to the following week, December 1st, because we want to be able to have it wrapped up so that you can get the tax bills ready to send out before the end of the year, beginning of the year. So
The new software is not as friendly as we had hoped, so, allowing ourselves enough time to make sure.
very good. Anything else? If not, I think we're good. Meeting adjourned.